Sometimes it starts with something absurdly small, a message that sounded colder than usual, a short reply, a delayed answer, a look someone gave you that lasted 2 seconds, and suddenly, your mind does something strange. It begins building a full internal investigation. You replay the moment, you search for hidden meanings, you imagine explanations, then worse explanations, then catastrophic ones. What should have lasted 10 seconds becomes 30 minutes of mental noise. And the strange part is this. You know the problem is small, but your brain refuses to treat it that way. Why? Because overthinking is rarely about the problem itself. It is usually about uncertainty. Your brain is built to detect what feels unresolved. Even tiny unresolved details can activate a disproportionate internal response. A small ambiguity becomes mentally expensive because the brain hates unfinished patterns. This is why an unanswered text can feel heavier than a direct rejection. Rejection ends the pattern, silence does not. And when there is no answer, your mind creates one, usually several, most of them negative. Because from an evolutionary perspective, assuming danger was safer than assuming everything was fine. If your ancestors ignored possible threats, they paid a price. So your nervous system still carries that bias. Better to imagine the worst than miss a risk. The problem is that modern life constantly feeds this mechanism. A facial expression, a social interaction, a minor mistake at work, a sentence you wish you had said differently. None of these are real threats, but your brain often processes them as unfinished alerts. That is why overthinking small problems feels automatic. It is not irrational in structure, it is exaggerated prediction. Your mind keeps asking, what if this means something bigger? What if I miss something? What if this becomes a problem later? And because these questions have no immediate answer, the cycle continues. But there is another layer most people ignore. Small problems often activate older emotional material. Sometimes the current event is tiny, but what it touches is not. A delayed reply today may unconsciously connect to older fears of rejection. A small criticism may connect to past experiences of inadequacy. A minor mistake may activate a long-standing fear of losing control. So the mind reacts to two things at once: the present event, and the emotional history attached to it. This is why your reaction often feels larger than the situation deserves. You are not only reacting to now, you are reacting to what now reminds you of. And once this starts, overthinking creates a false sense of control. It feels productive. It feels like you are solving something, but most of the time, you are not solving, you are circling. Because real problem solving moves toward decision. Overthinking moves toward repetition. Same thought, different angle, no conclusion. That repetition creates exhaustion. And ironically, the longer you think, the less clear the situation becomes. Because mental repetition increases emotional intensity, and emotional intensity distorts proportion. A small issue begins to feel important simply because it occupied mental space for too long. Your brain starts assuming, if I am thinking this much about it, it must matter. But that is often false. Attention creates false significance, and social media has made this worse. Today, people are exposed to endless subtle comparison, constant interpretation, and social ambiguity. A seen message, no reply. Someone online but not answering. A post that triggers self-doubt. Tiny events now arrive all day long. Your brain never fully closes one loop before another begins. That creates chronic low-level cognitive tension. And when the mind becomes overloaded, even trivial issues feel larger. Because mental fatigue reduces emotional filtering. A tired brain magnifies. This is why people often overthink more at night. Not because problems become bigger, but because cognitive defenses become weaker. The mind loses precision when exhausted. So how do you interrupt this? First, name the size of the problem correctly, not emotionally, objectively. Ask, will this matter in 3 days? In 1 month? In 1 year? Many thoughts shrink immediately when placed in time. Second, separate fact from interpretation. Fact, the message was short. Interpretation, they are upset with me. Those are different things. Overthinking often confuses the two. Third, watch repetition. If you have already thought the same thing 3 times, your brain is no longer searching. It is looping. That is your signal to stop feeding it. And finally, accept that some uncertainty must remain unanswered. Not every small discomfort deserves full mental investigation. Sometimes the healthiest response is allowing incomplete information to stay incomplete, because peace does not come from solving every possibility. It comes from tolerating what does not need immediate resolution. And most small problems become smaller precisely when you stop enlarging them internally. Because many times, the real problem is not what happened. It is what your mind keeps adding to it. And once you see that clearly, something changes. You stop believing every thought deserves your attention. And that changes how your mind works.